Listen to part of a discussion in an ecology class. The class has been discussing examples of ecosystem restoration.
Now, Lusatia is a heterogeneous region that lies across the federal states of Brandenburg and Saxony and borders Poland. This region provides a fascinating counterpoint to Yellowstone. Why? Well, that's because it shows how rewilding can occur not just through deliberate reintroduction, but also through natural migration, and how landscape restoration can create unexpected opportunities for both wildlife and people. For over 150 years, this region was defined by one industry: lignite mining, also known as brown coal mining. The open-pit mining left enormous craters. Some people described them as looking like the surface of the moon. After German reunification in 1990, most of these mines closed down and left behind a marred, desolate landscape. But rather than abandoning these areas, Germany embarked on an ambitious restoration project. By 2020, 75 artificial lakes had been created, covering about 14,000 hectares. These former mining sites were transformed into recreational areas, forests, and wetlands. One notable example is the Nocton Boulder Park, which attracts both domestic and international tourists because visitors can experience both industrial history and natural beauty in one place.
So what they just did was basically fill the mining pits with water? And that was it?
Not quite that simple, Josh. The restoration involved careful ecological planning, planting trees, managing water quality, and creating habitats. And here's where it gets interesting. Wolves returned of their own volition. In 1998, 2 wolves were discovered in the area by a forest ranger. In 2000, wolf pups were born there for the first time in over a century. Since then, the wolf population has been steadily growing. By 2012, multiple wolf packs had established themselves across the region. Currently, there are more than 10 wolf packs living across 2,000 square kilometers, with some territories extending into Poland.
So they came back and settled naturally? Nobody brought them there?
Exactly, Olivia. These wolves migrated from Poland and the Czech Republic back into their former German territories. This is what we call passive rewilding, creating conditions that allow species to return on their own, rather than actively reintroducing them. And remember what we discussed about Yellowstone. Similar dynamics occurred here. The restored riparian zones around these new lakes attracted beavers, which in turn supported other species.
But wait, didn't the local people object? I mean, if ranchers in Wyoming were worried about wolves, wouldn't German farmers have the same concerns?
Oh, absolutely. And that's an ongoing challenge. Livestock losses do occur, and there have been conflicts, especially with sheep farmers. However, Germany has implemented compensation programs similar to those in the United States. But here's something unique about Lusatia. The region was already economically depressed after the mine closures. The transformation into a tourist destination, what we call ecotourism, has created new economic opportunities. People come to see the restored landscapes, visit the Nocton Boulder Park, go boating on the artificial lakes, and yes, some even hope to spot wolves in the wild. So, while tensions with some agricultural interests remain, there's also recognition that wildlife and restored nature yield economic returns.
So this is different from Yellowstone in that, the landscape itself was rebuilt?
Yes, that's the key distinction. Yellowstone was about restoring a natural ecosystem that had been disrupted. Lusatia is about creating new ecosystems on what ecologists call an anthropogenic landscape, that is, land fundamentally shaped by human activity, and having wildlife return to reclaim it. It demonstrates that rewilding doesn't require pristine wilderness. Even heavily damaged landscapes can recover and support biodiversity if we give them the chance. The question is whether we're willing to share those spaces with predators like wolves, and whether we can balance ecological restoration with human needs. This is why rewilding remains both powerful and controversial. It challenges us to reimagine our relationship with nature, even in places where nature seemed completely erased.